Hello. Today, I would like to introduce the sample ABAP program that calls the external API by using POST method. In this example, the program calls API of SAP Translation Hub. Although it is saying deprecated, it was still available when I was recording this video. This sample program collects the necessary data like text should be translated via parameters, and then calls API of SAP Translation Hub by POST method, in order to translate the text. After that, it deserializes the JSON data of response from API, and shows the translated text by write statement. This sample program can be found in my GitHub repository. The link to the repository is listed in the description of this video. So please check it, if you are interested. Now, let's check the program in detail. The first line is for creating the reference for the interface if HTTP client. This is used when creating the instance of HTTP client later. This part is the data for SAP Translation Hub. This is creating an instance of HTTP client. There are two ways to create it. One is the method createByDestination that uses the destination in SM59. The other is the method createByURL that used the URL passed. Here, I am using the method createByURL. Although it is possible to set proxy information, SAP username and so on, I didn't use them. For importing parameter, it is passing the reference object to if HTTP client that was declared at first. No error handling, but it should be cared. There are several options regarding HTTP request seems to be possible to set like these, but I don't set anything in this example. This is the reference object to CL REST HTTP client. This is instantiated by passing HTTP client created before. Here, the REST client is instantiated by passing the HTTP client created before. I am using the new ABAP syntax that is available since Basis Release 740. If your system is under 740, use the old syntax 1. By the way, another new syntax that is coded with data declaration is commented out just for reference. This object is used to set the request header. Send the POST request to API. Retrieve the response data from API. These data are used for setting the body data of POST request. This statement creates a REST entity to store the content. The content type is specified by this statement. In this case GCAPPL JSON, it means application/JSON. This part is setting the body data to the request. Because parameter values become capital letter automatically, I am changing it to lowercase. Otherwise the request for this API is failed. Finally it set the body to the request by the method setStringData. This part is setting the header parameter to the request. Note that the method of LOREST client is used to set the header, unlike the case of setting the body data to the request. Now, it sends the POST request to API by the method ifREST_resource_POST of LOREST client. In this method it sends the request and receive the response. I will check it later by using the debug mode. In the case of getRequest, the method is ifREST_resource_get, without passing any parameters. This part is for the data declaration to retrieve the response data from API. The most important one is LO response, that is the reference object to if REST entity. All response data are retrieved by using this reference object LO_response after it is assigned the response entity. Retrieving the response data and assigning it to the object LO_response at the first line of this part. And other parts are getting specific data by using this object. JSON data of response data from API is stored in the variant LV_response. This is the output processing. There are two ways to deserialize JSON data. One is the easier way by using the class /UI2/CL data access that can access the JSON data directly. The other is the complex one by using the class /UI2/CL JSON that must use structures and internal tables to access the JSON data. The output of both ways are same, but I've coded the each way to each form, just for reference. I normally use the class /UI2/CL data access to deserialize the JSON data, because it is much easier to handle. This is the output processing by using /UI2/CL data access. There are two things that you should care. One is the prerequisite release of software component SAP UI. Your system must have the software component SAP UI release over 751, and you might need to apply SAP Note 252-6405 up to its SP level. The second point that you should care is the number of array entry. Normally 0 is the first entry of array, but in this case the first entry is 1, so if you put 0 to access the array data, you will get nothing. This is another form to deserialize the JSON data. And here is the data declaration part. The parent structure is ls translated data, and it only has one internal table named units. Units has two string parameters and one internal table named translations, that has two string parameters. This is the image of ABAP data corresponds with the JSON data. By this statement, JSON data is deserialized and stored into ls translated data. Because the stored data is in the internal tables, although it has only one entry. I am using loop for each internal table to get the necessary data in this part. That's all about this program. Now, let's execute this program. Before executing, it is necessary to replace this part with the valid API key of SAP Translation Hub. Activate this program. Execute this program. This is the result. This time, change the text should be translated. The result is changed according to the source text. Because it is translating into Japanese, it might be hard to realize the difference for some of you who are not familiar with Japanese. But it doesn't really matter to understand this program. Set the breakpoint here, and let's check what is going on in this method by using debug function. Then, execute the program. Debugger is started, and the program is stopped at the statement set a breakpoint. In the debugger, you can check the contents of variant by double-clicking on it, like this. Then, double-click here. This is the contents of body data sent to API. Now, go inside the method by pushing the single step button. Again. In this method, it is calling send method and receive method here. Go further by pushing execute button. The return code is 0 for send method. Receive method is also fine. This is the contents of LO response and its MO entity. By using the method getHeader field of LO response, it is possible to get the specific data, like this. Response JSON data from API is retrieved by the method getStringData. And, this is the contents of response JSON data from the API of SAP Translation Hub. This is the result of JSON Deserialize by the class /UI2/CL data access. It is possible to get the data by specifying the key names with hyphen, although the first entry number of array is 1. And the value is imported to the variant specified for the parameter EV data. This is the case of JSON deserialize by the class /UI2/CL_JSON, and the method Deserialize. Deserialized JSON data is imported into the structure ls translated data. Let's look inside this structure. One internal table named units is existing. Inside units, value, key, and the internal table translations are existing. Inside translations, language, and value are existing like this. That's all about the confirmation of program behavior in the debugger. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please check my other videos and subscribe this channel, if you like.